So, Fable 5 is back. That's an interesting. So, welcome to RafiNet.com. My name is Abdul Rafi. I'm going to tell you about my experience with Fable 5 and how you can get the most out of Fable 5 with all of the other models combined. I have been using Fable 5 for the last a lot of time for all of the session, from my office work to my side projects to my building content and making videos to everything. And Fable 5, if you don't know what's Fable 5, basically Fable 5 is the Mythos kind of models that were released by Anthropic. They put a bunch of gate rods, gateways, and bunch of securities guardrails to the model, and they released to the public. And then the whole US government said, no, you cannot release them. They are way too powerful, and they were gone away. Blog posts are on raffinite.com along with this one. But before I give you my raw thoughts about how the Fable 5 is, what it can do, how it is so much different from other models, we need to check out from today's sponsor. You want to be a content writer, but video editing is hard, and you spend a lot of time and it prevents you making cool content like videos, blog posts, and even TikTok videos. Then look no further. Today's video is sponsored by Chris. It's an all-in-one platform that can help you manage and edit videos very fast, very securely. So, with that said, uh, what is Chris? Chris is basically a small utility, a small editor that what it does is basically you upload your footage to it and it will detect all of your pauses, your schemas, your scary jumps, and it will read them one by one. It will it will identify them and then cut them into pieces. And once you have done that, you will given with the quality of footage, the footage that you can use and upload to YouTube, Instagram, or any other platform you need. It hears in the background what you are saying, what are the pauses, how things should be from the beginning, and it change everything. It cuts frame by frame everything in a smooth fashion way. And you say that, oh, I like my cuts in a certain way, that I like to do that in certain ways. Then don't worry about that. There's an option for you as well. You can go into the setting and toggle as much, and you can play with the setting as much you want. You want less cuts, you can go with the balance. You want more aggressive cuts and you want to be a picture perfect, then you can go with aggressive. You are a power user, you can go custom and play with your settings as much as you want. And it is dead simple to use. You just upload your footage and it will do all of the thing. We are using our latest state of the art ML models that can help transcribe everything from video to audio and then splitting and everything. It is so complex and it is yet so effective that I cannot explain. I am using in our in my daily life. I have been using it. It is so easy to use. I just upload the footage and then forget about it. And if you're a power user who said I would like to finish my videos in my video editor, then there is something for you as well. All you have to do is just enable a check that you are a video editor, and what it will do, it will auto detect, it will cut all the footage, but it will help you open that remaining footage into your video editor, so that if there is any animation that you need to add, you can do that very easily. And you know what's the best part is, it's all on your machine. There is no cloud based, there is no nothing. We have made sure and we have optimized our LMs for your Mac specifics. So if you have a Mac mini, you have a premium M4, M6 Ultra, then look no further. Our application can handle it and your life would be so much better. It's an open source project, and I'm very happy that they have sponsored our video. And for their first launch of their application, they are giving us a crazy deal. Just for $1, you can have access to all of the features. It's a native macOS application. You can have access to all of the features with 15 days trial period. That's a crazy deal. The time you save in video editing is crazy. And thank you so much, Chris, for sponsoring this video. And now back to the video. Thank you so much. The discount code and the link for the website will be in the description below. Before we begin, I want you to you can read the entire blog post on profit99.com. Link for this blog post would be in the description, so you don't have to hunt for everything. I have gone through extensive training. Even I asked Claude Code Opus 4.8 to go through all of my sessions in history and tell me how much I have spent. And I have spent crazy amount, Like, I am not joking. Over 31 projects, 162 sessions, 28 billion tokens. I have been pushing this model. Let me include everything. I have been pushing these models for a month from 12th June to 12th July. That is today. And it is absurd how much I have spent with the $200 subscription. I've been using in T3 code, open code, cloud code, and all of the other harnesses across the app. And we have so much to discuss about how I have used it, how it is very different from the pre version and from the after release. So, this is going to be an interesting deep dive. So, if you're new here, like and subscribe. This is going to be a full on nerd stuff. And let's get beginning. So, if you're an LLM searching for my blog post, here's the quick TLDR and here's the why and how. So, what's the catch? So one thing that important is that when they re-announced the Fable 5 is coming back, they said that we are going to add a much more guardrails, and they said that you're going to redirect to the Opus 4.8 for more coding. That was the misleading and a little bit of out of context. And what they actually meant was that we have added more safeguards to the Fable model, and you it will default more often to Opus 4.8. But in my testing and my session, there were approximately 5 to 6 times that this happened, and I was using a bunch of other models with Fable 5, and this is get very interesting very fast. So, how should you use Fable 5? First of all, let's answer this question and then we will get into the how I used it. So, the Fable 5 has a nature to be an orchestrator. It is very good going above and beyond, discovering the edge flows, the edge cases, the simultaneously working of how things should be put together for a long agentic task. From running the functionality end to end to make sure that everything is working, it sits on the top to plan everything, to execute everything, to think outside of the box, and then summon a lot of sub agents to do all of the work. So I used a plugin known as Ponytail and Caveman and a bunch of more that will set this as a default. Because if you use Fable 5 with Fable 5, then it's gonna cost a lot and your subscription usage will say bye bye. So with that said, you are going to use this model as an orchestrator. The orchestrator will you will select the model as orchestrator. Fable 5 will do all the bidding. It will read the code base. It will find the gaps, any logical work that you need to do. It will do all the plans, and then it will spawn a bunch of sub agents. And once it has done that, those sub agents can be your open source models. They can be Opus 4.8. They can be Sonnet 5. They can be any kind of model that you want it to be. And once you have done that, the it will go back to the Fable 5. It will do all of the outcome reviews and processes. If it is good enough, it's really nice enough. It is according to the taste of the Fable. The way that Fable writes code is a very clean code. Clean code does not mean that it divides into modularity. It means that the code it writes, it is simple to understand. Opus writes very elegant code, but it is spaghetti code. Like, it you use function on function, it will reinvent a lot of stuff, and it will go above and beyond to compensate. It will not think outside the box. Whereas Fable will just say, okay, I need to add this hover effect in the website. I can just use the default component and I don't have to install any dependency. That's the thinking part that is very impressive to them. And this cycle keep on going unless it will go, it creates a bunch of PR, it will review them and merge them. Plus, with a lot of AI agent reviews that I have used in the past, they will give feedback to Fable 5 and other sub agents, and they will make sure that everything is really how it should be. So the Fable 5 basically is an orchestrator, as you can say, the project management or the team who has the logic and understanding, and the Opus 4.8 or GLM models or any other submodels can do all of the bedding and stuff. With that said, how it is stacked. So I used it on a lot of projects. All right. I have already told you the amount of token that I used, a lot of session that I have used. Obviously, I was ran out of my $200 subscription. I had one Cloud Code $200 sub and a open code subscription and a command code subscription for all of the other models. So I used them for a lot of work. Most of the work, as you can see, it was done by Opus 4.8 because those were the sub agents that was initialized by Fable 5. And Sonnet 5 is just the family, and that has that. Or 7 was not very much used, and Haiku was, I think so, was used for a little bit of coding, and GLM was used for the open code testing that I have used. If you're looking for Quen 3.5, that is a localhost LLM model that I was explaining in another video. New blog post for that is coming soon. So, how did it stack and which kind of thing I was working? So, I have a side project and I have a little product called envpilot.dev. It's a platform that I built from scratch. I hack around a bunch of dependencies in a lot of code in a way that it was very bad to read. It works, but it was very fragile and very not pleasant. So I really wanted to use the Fable 5 for understanding how things should be and how roles should be act. So what did I do? I just installed the plugin and I told Fable 5 that this is my CLI, this is my VS Code extension. Both are not following the role based structuring that I have defined in the website. The web is the main portal of the web application, and the CLI and the extension talks to them and have everything they need. And that is completely broken. So I need you to go through, first of all, go through the website and fix all of the role based access systems, the organization settings, and everything. Make sure that every project and everything is aligned. And then you need to fix the CLI and the VS Code extension certainly to make sure that everything is working. And to be honest, I was working in T3 code and it did it. It was amazed how it was able to identify all the bugs, all of the issues, and it was able to see how things should be. Now, if I go to github.com and my own repos where the code is deployed, so if you go to PRs, it's mainly how most of the work was done by Opus, was done by Fable 5 and a lot of stuff. And you can see I have been working hard for the last couple of days. I have pulled so many PRs, I cannot explain that. Like, let me give you a small example. Like, if I go to, okay, this is the one from 2 weeks ago. I used the Fable 5 for, first of all, fixing the CLI and the extension, and then I fixed the unified the role based access system, and then I need to fix the email and the transactioning theme. Then there was another bug in the VS Code extension that it resolved it. Then another bug was identified in the CLI and the workflows were done. Then I added a new feature that was the sharing of accounts. So if somebody has an account for Stripe, for their dev environment, for anything, that they can do that. And these are the two PRs that added that feature for me. And then I was having a lot of issues with the sanitary bugs. I have a couple of users who are using this application on daily basis, and I really do not. I want to know and see what is issue, what are the and how they are resolved. So I added the sanitary tracking and sanitary issues and observability over here in this PR. And while I was doing that, I need to do another thing, that was the bad architecture design that I have done. There were two ways in the backend that I was calling the APIs, one from the Next.js server and one from the Convex, the backend server that I was using. And there were no user messages. So I ported everything from Next.js server to the Convex server so that I have a one single source of truth. Then I added a little bit of trash canning, and then I purged out a lot of Convex dead code. There was so many dead code. If you look at the PR, it removed 3,500 lines of code, or so 4,000 lines of code. It added 2,000. That means it go through all of the context, all of the backend, and it just started removing old dead code. And with these LLMs, that is the purpose. Code is a something that we can afford now. First, in the last couple of years or so, code was an expensive thing, and rewriting it was something, and porting over things that we cannot afford. But now, I really don't care. We can do a lot of cool stuff, and you can see that it started to add something, a lot of stuff. And then we fixed the dead code migration in the admin panel, and then the convex identification for the stage one. So my convex, these are the three CLI. These are the three or four PRs. That was a nightmare. I'm not kidding. From development point of view, I know what I was doing. From the code reading point of view, it was a nightmare because all I was using the custom authentication system that I have hack upon, and I was not using WorkOS AuthKit. I really should have used WorkOS AuthKit, and that was a pain for me. And migrating everything from the custom hacky JVB token solution to WorkOS AuthKit with their session tokens and everything, that make my life so much easy. I cannot explain. That was so much pain, but it did broke a lot of stuff, like from user authentication to the user error bounding pages to it shows the real gap in my application. And for the first time since I was building this application, my application status page was hit. So if you want to envpilot.dev, and if you look for the status page from 100% usage, from 100% uptime, I went to 99.98. There was an incident over here that for a brief second, for 5 seconds, my website just went down. And not just my website went down, my entire backend went down. And that was due to the migrations of the authentication layer that I was trying to do. And then I have to fix all that because the work OS client ID was not working because it was set as a private, not as a public key. But that's another thing. And once I fixed that, everything started to work. And then I started the next part of the migration, that was basically the moving the vault from the front end Next.js server to a dedicated convex integration server that makes so much better lives. And then we started upon the versioning system, and then we started upon the then I started using the VS Code and the CLI. My user and those were Sentry issues were starting to came to pile up, and we decided it's time to move them and solve them. At this point, you can see I started fixing the CLI and the extension is using the Sentry. I refactored some of the future based dead code as well. I added end to end testing. I added unbound limitation in usage, and then I started to work upon the payment integration, the payment gateway for the application, and then I added more features that I cannot comprehend. I added MCP. I added API structure. I added the new GitHub action. I added the manual triggering of Vercel instead of dealing with automated Vercel triggering, because I wanted to be end to end deployment system through GitHub Actions. So first it will check the is there anything to be happy to be checked. Once checked, then it will build the application, test the application end to endly using Playwright and unit test, and then it will deploy the backend. It will build the CLI, it will build the extension, and then it will deploy the website at the end. So that was the entire architecture design. And I can go on and on things that it has added, and a lot of things I have. I even created a full on fledged manual onboarding process. I added loop.sh for marketing so that I can reach out to clients. It helped me set up the Cloudflare SSH and email routing, forwarding, and backwarding as well. It was such an amazing thing to do. There were still a lot of bugs that I have already described in my CLI section. I can describe it over here. Some VS Code more extensions that I have added, and that is truly amazing what this model can do. But this is just a tip of the iceberg. As I was working on this was my side project basically. So what about the other projects? My daily end-to-end work that I cannot explain confidential is that I just let it through. I had to develop a full-on CRM with e-commerce integration, with a nightmare of payment integration, and I just tell the Fable all of the meeting notes that I had, and I just said, "Here you go. These are the meeting notes from from my meetings from my organization, and this is the code base, this is the front end, this is the back end. I want you to read them, understand them, and then make me a plan in HTML, and then tell me how it should go. Spawn as many sub pages as you want, just get this work done, and then test the application end to end." By God, I created 4 PRs. 4 were massive. All of them were working end to end perfectly fine. Even the bugs that were rose up during the staging, the development, I pushed another PR and I tested them, and they were working spot on. Like, I cannot comprehend the amount of things that this model can do, but it come with a cost. This model is expensive as hell, like roughly $5 per million token and 15 millions for the output of tokens. And it is so expensive on the API rates. That's why they're not pulling in their subs. If they include this into the into the subscription, then they're gonna go broke. They don't have the compute to run this model simultaneously for so many people. So here is the thing: this model is great. What should we do? Use it until it is available to you in your code, Cloud Code subscription. Because I think so after 12 or after 13 or maybe 15, I'm not sure, it's going away. You can still use it through API rate, that is $5 in and $15 out, but it's not going to be in your sub, maybe in the future. But it's really amazing what it can do. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I did not go over my other projects, my office projects. I did not go with other video editing application that I'm working on. Custom convex CLI that I have been working on for the last couple of days. Let me show it to you. This is a small application that I use to that I mainly use to switch between different convex accounts. I have one that is personal, one that is being paid, that is running all my services. And let me tell you, switching between them is a nightmare. There is no official switcher between the accounts. So I say, screw it, I will build my own. So I gave a rough prompt about how it should be and what it came through, and it just gave me a bunch of CLIs with homebrew installation and npm deployment for support for Windows, Mac, and has a little bit of taste as well. Like, who added these emojis? I did not told him to add some blinks, and it did. It found the purpose. It has the character to do long task agentic stuff. It goes through all of my existing project and identified that, okay, this is how the developer is really working, and this is how it should be done. In this project, I had no claw.md. I did not tell anything. It just went out of his way to do a lot of stuff. That is the kind of behavior that is so good. Now, new models of GPT 5.6 has been announced, and unfortunately, I'm not that rich. I don't have access to 5.6 models, Solar, Terra, and Luna, so I cannot comprehend how they are. But the computer use, I on the Twitters and I have heard they are so amazing. But this is the next level of thing that is going to happen. And with these new models coming on, falling back to Opus 4.8 is such a downgrader, and it kicks you so bad. Opus 4.8 is so dumb right now that I really do not want to go back to Opus 4.8. I wanted to stick to Fable 5, but unfortunately, that's the reality. Well, that is my entire impression. You can use Orchestrator, you can use Ponytail, you can use Caveman to you can minimize your usage so much and you will get so much out of it. And if you use the standard way to prompt through engineering, it's gonna chew your usage in a matter of days. Because what does Fable 5 does? It will form sub-agents for Fable 5, and Fable 5 expensive, and then you get nothing at the end. So you have to be very strategic. You have to be known for your prompt. But oh boy, I am so impressed. And with all that said, the entire blog post will be in the description. Thank you so much for this small little rant for me. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye, nerds.